Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. It's afternoon now. And hi to everyone on Zoom. My name is Ting Yi Tina Liu. I'm the Assistant Director of the Office of National Fellowships. We also have here with us Bonnie, our Associate Director, here to talk about fellowship opportunities for first and second year. So just a quick introduction to what our office is and what we do. So here at ONF, we really care about supporting you both academically and interpersonally to ensure success on these very prestigious, often very competitive fellowship and scholarship opportunity. So today we're mostly going to talk about fellowships that are open to only first and second years or in general to all years and major across different disciplines. But before we do that, we just want to talk a little bit more about the fellowship application process, starting with what is a fellowship. So a simple way to think about the difference between a traditional scholarship and a fellowship is that scholarship is just, here's a pile of money, go do with it whatever you want, or it offsets your tuition or something that just comes through. But with fellowship, it comes with an attached experience and sometimes with certain requirements, follow on service projects, or sometimes even a commitment to work for the institution that is providing you the funding. So fellowship can cover a wide variety of different opportunities, interest, destination, and yes, while it is usually nationally competitive and selective, but we always say, why can it be you? The answer we already have is a no. So we would love to help get you as close to that yes. And every year we have people from our school winning these awards. So it is very exciting and to us very fulfilling to see you grow through the fellowship process. So a quick breakdown to the three main things that we do. First is something like this, a fellowship promotion. So we talk to you about all the different opportunities that are out there, maybe specifically to for second years or specifically to a discipline, STEM majors or research or summer. So we try to promote these fellowships as they are coming up. And right now, really, most of the fellowships we're talking about today will be mostly open and due in the fall. So everyone that is here is definitely on a great track to get prepared for that timeline. The second thing we do is applicant identification. So we collaborate with you, with faculty, staff to really identify your qualifications, your goals to match you with those fellowship opportunities that you qualify for and maybe you might be the most interested in. And lastly, student mentoring is, I think, what we do best in those one-on-one sit down, getting to know you and your goals, your aspirations, and really help you craft a strong application. And that could look like working on your essays for weeks and weeks, or it could look like helping you select and talk to your recommenders to provide very strong letters, helping you prepare for mock interviews, anything that goes in the scope of mentoring, we're here. Come cry after you didn't get something, like we're here to support you as well. So a couple of main reasons to work with us is to first get clarity about your own goals, your values, your career aspiration, to improve your writing ability, communications, which we'll talk more about in a second, especially when it comes to writing the most important part for your application, the personal statement. And it's also really great preparation to go towards graduate school, professional schools, and even postgraduate plans. Something that's unique about our office is that we continue to work with you even after you graduate, because there's a lot of post-grad opportunities that you can still apply for after you finish your bachelor's. Building your on and off of campus network with other fellowship applicants or recipients, and discovering future fellowship opportunities. So before we get into a wide range, introducing different fellowships that you can think about, let's first talk about the personal statements. So what they are is an opportunity to showcase your passions, where they come from, and a chance to really align your interests and experience with the mission of the fellowship or the opportunity. So if you can imagine kind of like a Venn diagram, right? Here's you, here's the fellowship. What we want to do is try to find what overlaps the most, and that's where your personal statement should really situate in. And that requires understanding, right, where the fellowship is coming from, what are they looking for, does that actually align with your goals? We don't want you to like go for something that doesn't really fit with what you want to do long term, right? And what a personal statement is it's not a prose version of your resume. So don't just tell them about what you've done, just brag about it without really making a connection to how that will propel you into your future or how that fellowship opportunity aligns with your goals. And it's definitely not a reiteration of what the fellowship is or opportunity that they already know about their program. So, for example, we just finished wrapping up an award called the Gilman International Scholarship. And one of the prompts asks for how will you showcase what it means to be an American? And a lot of people spend most of their essay trying to talk about, well, here's why it's meaningful and like trying to convince them the reason why that this is a good thing to do. But the prompt actually asks for your plan and your strategy. So you don't need to spend as much time convincing the things that they are already asking you to do or they already know, but rather focus on what they are asking you to present, which is the actual plan and strategies, right? So with that being said, the writing process really should start from a place of reflection. So that's something I want to invite everyone to consider today as we're going through the different fellowship, to really think about what is your motivation for applying to this opportunity. And you want to think deeper than the pragmatic reasons that maybe like, well, they're giving me money, or like, well, I get to travel to this really cool location that I've always dreamed of, I've always wanted to. That's great, but think about your motivation that connects to your future goal. What contribution, impact you hope to make in your field, in your community, or on a state, regional, international level. And contributions don't always have to be fancy schmancy or novel to be significant. It could just contribute towards what things are already happening in your specific field, maybe environmental sustainability or public policy or medicine. And you want to think about how does this particular opportunity fit into your overall academic and career goals. So for most of you here, I'll zoom in here, it would be thinking about, how does my fellowship opportunity line up with my current years in school? When do I plan to graduate? What kind of experiences do I need to build up to maybe a pre-med application or pre-law? I was talking to a pre-med student this morning and we were strategizing like, okay, well, this summer you're doing more clinical shadowing hours, which is what you need for part of the pre-med application. So maybe next summer you should focus more on research and going more towards those opportunities so that you can have a balance of both. And during our underclassmen year, that's definitely a good time to be able to plan out that long-term map. All right, so we're going to start talking about the first fellowship, and this one is very unique to only freshman and sophomore years, and that's not by credit, it's by your year in school. So I assume all of you here are at least in your first year. So really next year, for current first years, will be your last chance to apply to the US-UK Fulbright Summer Institute. If you have heard of the US Fulbright Student Program, that is a postgraduate award. And this is related, but sort of a mini version for underclassmen to get a taste of studying abroad in one of their partnering UK universities. So it's about 3 to 6 weeks long, and they will cover your airfare, tuition, boarding, accommodation. And the goal really is to get students who have very limited study abroad opportunities to go abroad and focus on a particular topic hosted by a university. So for example, Lancaster University in the past has focused on environmental sustainability. It tends to change every year, so you always want to wait until the cycle opens to see what are the current offerings. And when you apply, you would want to talk very specifically about one UK university that you want to apply for. There's also the Queen's University Belfast, Understanding Northern Ireland, art, activism, and social justice at the University of Bristol. So depending on your academic interest, does not always even have to relate with your major. I think one of Bonning's fun story is that there's a student interested in midwifery, and they applied to a university that hosted like technology advancement, but that was the place where they had a lot of like midwifery technology advancement too. So she was able to make that case for herself. Yeah, and something to note is the apprenticeship cycle opens in November and closes in February. So it's definitely a great time to come talk to us about this, sometimes in late October, early November, so that you have time to work on it over the winter break. All right, continuing on the line of international opportunities, the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship is open only for Pell Grant recipient, and that could be whether you are currently receiving the Pell Grant or if you know that you will receive the Pell Grant during the semester or term that you want to go abroad. And the goal is to support undergraduate students of limited financial means to pursue credit-bearing academic study or career-oriented internship abroad. It could support up to $5,000 with additional supplement awards for STEM, critical need language study, totaling up to about $8,000. And what's special about this scholarship is that it opens twice a year, in October and in March. So we just wrapped up our March deadline. We had about 58 students apply, which both years we've had a lot more students apply. Last year we had 7 recipients. And yeah, it's a great opportunity to pair it with a study abroad program that you found on your own, or if you're going through FSU IP or exchange, this could supplement that funding. Critical language scholarship is similar, but different in a way that it provides fully funded group-based intensive language instruction. So you would be going to a location like university in Singapore and then learn, actually maybe not Singapore. Well, actually, yeah, Singapore for like Mandarin, or a language school in Korea, South Korea. So it would be a more structured, unlike Gilman, you have to apply for funding and the abroad program separately. Applying to critical language scholarship would send you to one of their pre-programmed location. And it happens only during the summer for individuals who are interested in learning one of the main critical language such as Portuguese, Persian, Mandarin, Russian, anything that the federal government deems to be critical to national security. And the national deadline is in mid-November, so you would want to be thinking about this maybe in early fall and coming to talk to us when the award opens. So these are all really great opportunities to use towards studying abroad at honestly any point during your undergrad, but the earlier that you start to think about it, the better. And it could be very strategically placed within your academic trajectory. All right, moving on to kind of like the STEM focus, but not limited to just STEM students. The NSF Research Experience for undergrad will help you connect with one of the many locations projects happening at universities across the US. And no, it's not only for STEM majors because there are some adjacent disciplines like education, people's society, social behavior, ethics, value, that kind of research projects as well. So you want to imagine it's basically a huge database application. You go in there, you find a project that you're interested in, and you apply to that specific project. So an REU site would look like about 10 or so undergrads working in a research program at a host institution with a PI, principal investigator, and faculty and other researcher. And you're granted stipends, including housing, travel, and meals. And like I said, each award is unique in its own deadline requirement. So you really have to go into the database and see what's available. If there's something that matches your interest. All right. And actually, I'm going to come back to Goldwater. I'll talk about a similar experience to REU, but it's then in Germany. We were actually just talking about our applicants from last year who, we're still waiting to hear back from, but this will give you an opportunity to work with German doctoral students at top labs across Germany. No German is required, and for a minimum of 10 weeks to the maximum of 90 days in the summer. So very similar, it's a web-based matching process with the host institution or university, and they will offer you scholarship, international travel, and housing assistance. So this award is open to current undergraduate with at least 2 years completed and 1 more year to go. So if you are currently a second year and you are planning to graduate in 3 years, this would probably not be available to you. So it essentially is designed for juniors who have at least a year left. And something key to notice is the letter of recommendation should come from a senior faculty. That could be someone you're currently in your lab or a professor that you have, and you are allowed to apply up to 3 internships from available opportunities in their system. DAAD does happen a lot earlier than REU. REU applications usually close, I think, in December to March, so it's a little later. So if you're interested in research experiences like this October to December, you should be thinking about applying to things including DAAD and REU. All right, back to Barry Goldwater. This is only for STEM majors who have a high interest in pursuing research as part of their long-term career. So the Goldwater Award seeks to identify and support college sophomores and juniors, again, not by credit, but by your year in school. You should, by the time you apply, you should have at least a year or 2 left of your undergraduate study. And yeah, they really seek to identify the nation's next generation of research leaders, supporting up to $7,500 per academic year towards tuition, housing, mandatory fees. In this sense, the Goldwater Award is a little bit different than a traditional fellowship because it doesn't technically have an experience attached. However, someone getting a Goldwater Award tends to, or they are really looking for people who are already part of research and will continue to do research, excuse me, during their undergrad. So the application entails a nomination by FSU and it goes through our office, ONF. You cannot apply on your own like some of the other awards. And each year we get to nominate about 4 people from our school. But if you're a transfer student, if you're a student veteran, we get extra spots. So we could nominate up to 6 people. If you're interested in this, definitely come talk to us very early, well, end of summer, early fall, because the deadline is early November, but it's a very extensive application as well, consisting of a research essay detailing your current research and 3 letters of recommendation, which will take time to secure, official transcripts, and all that good stuff. All right, I guess I'll pause before we get into some tips. Are there any questions about some of the opportunities we've talked about so far? I guess you get first dibs here. Okay, any questions in the chat? Okay, yeah, well, feel free to put questions in the chat. We can address them at the end. But here's some general tips. So if you saw any of these awards that you're interested in, definitely go on their website to make sure that their mission really truly aligns with your goal. Making up something to try to align with their mission will not work. So you really want to reflect on your own personal goals and also see as much of the overlap between what fellowship and award offers. You want to check application deadlines and plan ahead. Usually give yourself at least a month, if not 2 months. I tried to do like 4 applications last year in like 1 month, and it was not fun. Don't do that. And definitely read through the application to see what they're looking for, especially letters of recommendation, and also see if there's some overlap between opportunities that you want to apply for. So for example, you're applying for DAAD or REUs, you might end up using some very similar personal statements. Or if you want to apply for Gilman and the CLS or BOREM, just another language immersion award, some of that will overlap. So it might be helpful to be working on those applications at the same time. And our office, we're happy to help you kind of plan and strategize that. As you begin to work on your essays, your personal statements, you want to explain very clearly why you chose a specific program by showing them and not just telling them. So, for example, you don't just want to say, it's always been my dream to study abroad. We joke in our office that nobody was born to like want to study abroad from day one. So tell the reader instead what exactly about the abroad experience will help you become a better doctor or become a better lawyer. So have those very specific examples that comes from your own background. And like I already mentioned, strong letters of recommendation. In your first and second years, it's so important. Go to office hour, email your professor, really start building professional relationships with your mentors and faculty for those letters. All right, so and the best way to get in touch with us, as you can see, we have a pretty boutique office right now. So email us at onf@fsu.edu to set up appointments, and you can just let us know a list of your availabilities, general about 2 weeks, give or take, and we'd be happy to respond and help set up an appointment. We don't do walk-in or drop-ins, unfortunately, but yeah, we would be happy to schedule an appointment with you through now. So that's all we have for today. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for coming. Are there any questions in the chat? No? Cool. Well, next time if you're wanting to join us in person, we usually have more snacks and stickers. So we would love to see you at our next event. I think we only have one more left for this semester, which is a Fulbright launch. That doesn't usually apply to underclassmen, but if you're interested in learning more, hey, feel free to come. So yeah, thank you everyone. Oh, thank you. Cool. Thank you.